Welcome to section 20.9 of Metabolism. In this video, we will focus on memorizing the details of vitamin C. Let's get started. Our vitamin C story takes place on a pirate ship. You may have heard that pirates or men and women out at sea for a long time get scurvy. Scurvy results from a deficiency of vitamin C when you don't get enough fruits and vegetables while away at sea. This particular crew tries to be very careful not to get scurvy, so they focus on having enough vitamin C. Even their flag says vitamin C. Now, this main level of the ship will represent basic functions and the role of vitamin C. The upper deck, where the steering wheel is, represents vitamin C excess. And then items down below near the plank and in the water will represent vitamin C deficiency. Now, vitamin C is needed to make collagen. Notice here these guys are making a gin in a cauldron. You could say it's a cauldron of gin. Cauldron of gin for collagen. The most important ingredients they put in the cauldron of gin are fruits and vegetables. This big box of fruits and vegetables will help you remember that vitamin C is found in these foods. Fruit is notorious for containing high levels of antioxidants, and a component providing this antioxidant power is vitamin C. So when you think of fruit, think of vitamin C and its antioxidant ability. Notice this sign here that reads rough gin. To ensure these gin guys can produce adequate amounts of gin without being disturbed, the crew has blocked this area off with a wall, which you can see next to the sign. So the cauldron of gin and all of its products are made in this rough little compartment on the ship. The label rough gin in this compartment represents the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the cauldron of gin stands for collagen. Now, hopefully, this will help you remember that collagen is produced in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So again, rough gin sign for rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now look at this fellow here. He's feeling the nice breeze. Look at him lean forward off the boat. He's trying to get as much of that breeze as he can. He does this often and is pretty confident in his pro-leaning abilities. This pro-leaning skill of his represents proline. Proline is an amino acid that gets hydroxylated in order to form collagen. Again, this pro-leaner is within this rough compartment to help remind you that proline, a component of collagen, is made within the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now, if you look closely at our pro-leaner, he has a lot of lice in his hair. Like a nasty amount of lice that we can see it from here. Anyways, all of this lice represents lysine, which is also hydroxylated in order to produce collagen, just like proline was. So lice for lysine. See this pirate looking at a map with a big NE on it. On a map, NE stands for northeast, which is the direction these pirates are hoping to travel in. And for our purposes, NE will stand for norepinephrine. Now look at him smoke some dope. Smoking dope will help you remember dopamine. And the reason you need to remember dopamine is because dopamine beta hydroxylase requires vitamin C to convert dopamine to norepinephrine. So again, in order to get dopamine to become norepinephrine, you need vitamin C. Now let's look at these three workers ironing the clothes of the captain. Now the irons they are holding represent iron, and the fact that there are three of them represent iron in the 3+ state. In our bodies, iron gets absorbed from the intestines only when it is in the 2+ state. Now, vitamin C can reduce iron from the 3+ state to the 2+ state, so it can be absorbed into our bodies. Now look closely at this third iron. It was broken by a yellow rock. Now there are only 2 functional irons in this little ironing trio. This breaking of the third iron will help you remember that vitamin C reduces iron from the 3+ state to the 2+ state. Now, who threw the stone which broke the iron? Well, it was this goofball up here on the top deck. This guy is drunk, probably off all the gin from the rough gin area. Now this deck up here represents vitamin C excess. So we're going to list some symptoms now up here on the deck, which you can associate with excess vitamin C. Now looking back at the stones specifically, notice they are shaped like little kidneys. This represents that excess vitamin C can cause kidney stones. The specific type of stone is calcium oxalate stones. So kidney-shaped stones for kidney stones. Now when people drink too much gin, they often get sleepy. Look at this fellow here, all tuckered out and asleep. This sleeping guy will help you remember that excess vitamin C can cause fatigue. In addition to getting sleepy when drinking, sometimes people will get nauseous and throw up. Look at this guy throwing up over the starboard side. It looks like he barely made it to the edge before hurling all that gin. So again, excess vitamin C can cause nausea and vomiting. Now look at this guy drinking up against this big iron anvil. When people get too wasted, they sometimes make really bad decisions. Some way or another, a poor pirate got crushed beneath this giant iron anvil. This represents the fact that too much vitamin C can actually cause iron toxicity. Why would this happen? Well, we know that vitamin C is really good at reducing iron to the 2+ state, so it can be absorbed. So too much vitamin C can lead to too much iron. Absorbing too much vitamin C is especially problematic in patients who are predisposed to iron overload. Examples of these patients include those with hereditary hemochromatosis or patients who receive frequent blood transfusions, such as sickle cell patients. And that's because blood transfusions have so much iron in them already. So again, crushed by giant iron anvil, for iron toxicity. Now, it wouldn't be a pirate ship if someone wasn't forced off of a plank, right? Well, here you go. This fellow is getting punched off of the plank. This portion and everything lower in the water represents vitamin C deficiency. The man who received this punch now has a black bruise around his eye. This bruise will help you remember that easy bruising occurs with vitamin C deficiency. Now look at the corkscrew hair this guy has. Each hair looks like a little corkscrew, which occurs in vitamin C deficiency, or scurvy, if you will. Now, it looks like one person already got forced into the water. He is shark food at this point. Now look at the big prominent gums on this shark. These big shark gums represent swollen gums, which occur in vitamin C deficiency. So big shark gums for swollen gums. This poor shark food here has already received some bite marks. You can see these bloody dots all over. These bloody dots represent petechiae, which can occur with vitamin C deficiency. So a bunch of small bite marks for petechiae. Now this guy must have gotten injured in another way. Look at this poor elbow all swollen like that. Maybe he smacked the plank on his way out. Now this swollen elbow represents hemarthrosis, which is blood pooling in the joints. You can also have perifollicular or subperiosteal hemorrhages in the bones. So red swollen elbow for hemarthrosis. Now these pirates are pretty cruel. They even threw a poor wounded man out into the ocean, on his stretcher. No humanity. We like to use the stretcher as a way to demonstrate decreased immunity. So patients with vitamin C deficiency have poor wound healing and decreased immunity. And with that, you have learned all of the items that you need to memorize for vitamin C.